So, hi team. So we came across a long way covering LLM, covering LLaMA, right? Creating some really good, interesting applications, right? So in last project, we created an application. It was like uploading a PDF, and thereafter user can ask anything from that PDF. Okay, and based on the information given in the PDF, it can give you the output. Now we can, using the similar kind of process, we can create our own private chatbot. Okay, this chatbot can have information about your organization. Okay, like you can give the information about your organization in the form of some brochure, right, or some document to this guy. That means it is already pre-configured document. Every time user can't upload their own document, it's a private chatbot, right, in which already we have attached, or we had already given the information to this chatbot using some of our brochure, or using some of our research paper, or using some of our training document, right. Now if it is already pre-configured, it can act as a private chatbot for your organization, right. Like suppose if someone wants to get hired, right, so you just had given all the information about the hiring process, like what will be the probation period, what will be the salary, what will be the PF, what will be the notice period. You had given everything in a documented form to the chatbot, and anyone can interact with the chatbot and can get the information, right. Suppose you are selling a product, right, so about a product you just had created a document, for example, like what is a price, what is a warranty, or the service center number, the customer care details, and you can say you user process, or you can say product manual, right, how to use that product, what are the precautions needs to be taken care, right. So everything you just stored in a particular document. Okay, and you just use this document to create a chatbot, right, and any user can do what, can just interact with this chatbot and get the information about the product, right, and you can use those product for their particular use cases, right. So there are multiple uses are there, right. So it helps us in understanding how a document enabled chatbot can be created, and later on we will also try to publish, or you can say you deploy this document enabled private chatbot to a cloud service, right, so that end users can use it from any part of this world, right. So let's continue first with creating this chatbot. The deployment thing we'll discuss later. So for that, get back to your coding environment. This is our coding environment, right. So here last time we created a PDF summarizer, right. So it is almost similar to PDF summarizer. Only difference, in PDF summarizer you can upload any PDF. Here we can't upload any PDF. Here the PDF, or you can say document, will be pre-configured. Okay, document will be pre-configured already. Your model or your chatbot will be knowing like on which document to be considered every time, which document to be considered every time for responding to a user, right. So let's say I'll give it a name over here. What name shall I give? LLaMA AI chatbot. Okay, LLaMA AI chatbot. All right. Now let's do one thing. Let's import the library. So I can import few libraries that we usually import, like import is Streamlit as st, right. Okay, thereafter we will import over here. Okay, here the file name should contain .py, right, otherwise it will not consider as a Python file. Now it's fine. So we are importing Streamlit file. Thereafter I'll import mu PDF. So for that I can import fidge. Okay, fidge is something which can access your document, right. So last time we had used what, py PDF2. So both the options you have. You can use PyPDF2 in case because of any reason PyPDF2 is not working because of any update or any particular reason in your system. Try with Fidge. Okay. So to use Fidge, you need to install what? PyMUDF. PyMUPDF. Sorry. PyMUPDF. You can just install it like this. PIP install PyMUPDF. Right. So this is also a library for accessing documents. Now, you know why do we use requests? Requests, right? To create a post request to our end Ollama, right? Which is already configured with LLaMA, right? For responding. Now to read the response, we require JSON file, right? These all things we use. Apart from this, what we use? We set the page configuration, right? So I'll just copy the same thing from here, the page configuration, and we'll paste it over here, right? So in the page configuration, what I'll do, I'll give it information. For example, let's say I want to create it for our organization. So I'll give it a name, AI Council Chatbot. Fair enough. Thereafter, we are centering it. Then AI PDF summarizer I had given. Let me give it a AI Council Chatbot. So this will create our simple user interface, right? Thereafter, we need a function which can extract the PDF data, right? So point is, how can we create a function? Very simple. Just create def extract PDF text, right? So this will extract our PDF data. So to extract our PDF data, what we require, we need PDF path. Because here we are not uploading the PDF externally, but internally PDF file will be predefined, right? The path of the PDF file will be predefined, right? So we can just give the PDF path to extract it. Now, how can we extract it? Very simple. We have to use Fidge over here. So document is equals to Fidge dot open. Okay. What I need to open? This path. Sounds good. So this will just open your file, and thereafter we need to go through this document. So for that we need a loop. So for page in document, one by one we'll go through, and there can be a variable called full text, isn't it? Full text is equals to a blank value, and the text we will append into this guy. Full text plus equals to whatever the page that you are reading. So page dot get text, right? So whatever the information that is there, you are just accessing it, reading it, and storing it into full text. Then at the end, you will return the full text. All right. So you just return this guy and you will get the output. Okay. Next, once this function will be called, it will do what? This function is there to load PDF, okay, text, and then we require a function for generating the response, right? So how can we generate a response? So for that, let's create a function which can generate the response, right? So def generate response LLaMA. Okay, this is what we can do. Now, how can we generate the response? That we need to think over here logically. To generate a response, you require few things. Okay, the first thing that you required is PDF text, isn't it? That means whenever this function will be called, we have to pass over here what? The PDF text, right? So let's say PDF underscore text. Okay, and thereafter what we need, apart from the PDF text, what we require here? We require the user input as well. All right. Okay. So that user input will also be required to generate the response, isn't it? So let's just continue with this much thing. Thereafter, if anything required, we will use that. Right. So here, let's say first we will create the prompt. So prompt will be equals to F. Okay. And thereafter we'll see that this is our prompt. So let me just write the comment as well. Documentation of your code is very important. So compose your prompt. Okay. So let's say I'll give it an instruction. You are a helpful assistant, chat assistant for AI council. Use the information below to answer questions naturally without mentioning the source document, right? We don't want to mention the source document. That is very important. And then we'll say that please format your answer clearly. And if it can respond in a bullet form, it would be good. So use bullets, bullet points, or numbered list where needed. All right, that's it. Fine. After this, we have to, kind of give it a context. So how can you give it a context? Let's say we will just represent over here PDF context. So where is context? Context is over here, PDF text, right? So when text will be extracted, after we call this function, right? I mean, when we call this function, the output we will store somewhere in some variable, and that variable will feed it over here. So it will have the PDF text. Next, it will have what? The user input, right? So let's say user. What is user input? This is user input. That question had been asked. Oh, what happened? Okay. So here, user input, and next, it is expected to return the output after this. So this is a prompt that will give. It will take the context, it will take the user input, and then assistant will respond after this, right? Okay. Now we have to call LLaMA and feed these prompt, right? So we'll do what? We'll call local LLaMA. All right. So for that, we will use over a try and except, so that in case if there is any exception, that can be handled gracefully. Except exception as ERR. I'll say just in case you get exception, just print that exception, right? So now in the try part, what we will do? Result is equals to, we have a request library, right? Using this request library, we have to generate a query. Now question is to whom we should generate a query, right? So to understand it, we'll check our command prompt over here, and in this command prompt I'll just pass Ollama serve, right? So when I pass it, it is showing that there is a Ollama already running on this particular web page. So we can get back to our web browser and call it the local host. So this is a request. This is a point of request, right? So we'll get back to our script. So requests dot post. Okay, we have to call it, right? And then I have to call over here API/generate. Okay, so that we can generate the output. This is your first thing. And second thing, what we feed over here, we did it for so many times. We need to feed over here the model information and the prompt. So that we will feed JSON is equals to model. So here we will give our model, right? And here we will give our prompt. Okay. So prompt we already created. So just put it over here, prompt. That's it. Right. Now from where I can access the model information, again get back to your command prompt. Okay, and here type Ollama list. Right. So these are the models we have. We can copy any one of them, right? The model that you are having in your system. Get back over here, okay, and use your model over here. That's it. Okay. And the last thing that we have to do is stream. So streaming can be equals to what over here? True. Right. That means we want the streaming output. All right. So this will execute, and when it will execute, the prompt will be given. We get the response. Okay, and response is present here in res. Right. So now what we do? We'll just go through the, and the response used to be what? Multi-line JSONs. Okay, we have a JSON response and we have a multi-line JSON response. So we'll just iterate through each line for line in res dot iter lines. Okay, we are just kind of iterating through the each lines. If line is existing, do what? Just do data is equals to JSON. This is something, right? So data is equals to JSON dot loads. Okay, what I want to load, I can use line dot decode. Okay, UTF-8. Right. So here we are just kind of decoding it using UTF-8 algorithm, right? And thereafter, what key is containing response? It's the response key. In each line, there is a response key which contains the response that we have seen in our previous videos. If it is not that much clear for you, that what we are, okay, fine. Let me just write it over here. To read the data, what we do, we use data.get response. And if response key is not there, because in the last line it may not be there, so it will just return blank. Now why I write response over here? Because when you run this query, right, this particular query, right, when you run this query, this whole thing, right, the response that we get will be a multi-line JSON. Okay, I recommend you to watch our previous video in this particular playlist, right, so that you can understand what it actually do, right? So it just returns. I'll show you which one to watch, right? All right. So just watch these two video, like tutorial 2 and tutorial 3. So if you watch these two videos, that is tutorial 2 and tutorial 3, things will get clear for you. What will get clear for you? You will understand that why we are using response over here, right? Because in each line, the actual information is packed within the response key. So from that key, we are picking up the information, right? And that information we will do what? We will add into a variable. That variable I can define over here as response underscore text. This is a blank. This variable is containing blank string, and that will get updated with the responses, right? So let's do that. All right. So this response text, which is a blank variable, plus equals to, that means we are reading the response and adding it into the response text one by one. And when everything is done, when this process is done, that means this loop finishes. So what we do? So once response text added, we'll come out of the loop and then we'll return this response text, right? So just return whatever the value that is being created, response text dot strip. It will remove any extra spaces that may be created during the process. Now things are done. Now when this particular function will be called, which function? Generate response LLaMA. It will consider the PDF text and user input, and it will try to make a response out of it. All right. Now we need what? We need a field where user can enter something, right? Like ask a question. All right. So for that, we'll create a function def main, right, Now what this function will require, and at the end we will trigger this function, right? So if double underscore name double underscore double equal sign main, okay, it's like main. All right, that is it. Now we need what? We need to write a logic. What logic requires over here? The very first thing, when you are working with this main function, we need a PDF file, right? So let's do one thing. Let me show you a PDF file, a very simple PDF file we'll try to use over here, right? And using that PDF file, we want that my model should act, okay? It should get the information from a particular PDF file that we are going to use, right? So first of all, let me show you that PDF file, and then I'll add that PDF file, right? So here is a PDF file. Sit down for a minute. Okay, so this is a PDF file having some information about some of the training program, right, that we offer. So this PDF file I want to use, right? So what I do, I'll just copy this PDF file from wherever it exists in my system, right? And we'll just paste it into the same folder where my other files are there, where my project file is there, so that my system or it can be easy accessible, right? So what we do, I just copied it from wherever it is existing, get back to our coding environment, and this is a folder in which my project file is there, LLaMA app. So I'll paste it over here. So it is saying to paste, yes, I'll paste it. So this is a file. Okay, this is a file that we want to consider for my chatbot, right? So what we do is just write a logic over here first. Let's load and cache PDF text. Okay, so for that PDF path will be equals to, you can just give it a, from here you can just take the name, okay, and can paste it over. That's it. It is stored in the same location, so it can be easily accessible, right? We need not to give the complete path, right? Thereafter I need what? This file data to be extracted. So how it can be extracted? We already have a function. Let's copy this function and paste it over here. Okay, so this will extract the data, and that data we will use over here in PDF text, right? So now I have a data extracted, right? Next, what we do, we will create a form in which user can feed the details, right? So for that, with st.form, okay, I can directly create a form over here. Let's say I'll create a form key is equals to chat form. This form will have a key chat form, right? And thereafter, if you're using a key, please don't give any space. Thereafter, we will use over here clear on submit. That will be equals to true. That whenever submit button is clicked, this should be cleared out. All right. So now let's see how is it functioning till now. It is not completed yet because I have to also write a logic through which user input can be picked up and response can be shown to the user. But as of now, whatever is did, let's try to check how is it performing, like whether I am getting the user interface at least or not, isn't it? So for the purpose, we'll get back to our folder where we created this project. Okay, this is a folder, and at this folder I will run my command prompt, right? So this is our command prompt, isn't it? I'll show you. This is looking good. And here I will do what? I will just call over here directory to check all the files we have, and then Streamlit. And what is my file name that I want to execute? It is most probably LLaMA AI chatbot, right? So run LLaMA AI chatbot.py. Now, when I will execute it, the output we can expect in our web browser. So let's move to the web browser over here, right? And you will see the output over. So it's looking fine. we have the AI council chatbot, something that you can see, right? But here we are not getting the form that we are expecting. So let's do one thing. Let's complete that form and thereafter again check back. So I'll do what? This is a form. Okay. So I'll say with this thing, and this form requires a submit button and all, right? So first, this form requires a field where user can enter the details. So user input will be equals to st dot text input. Okay. So text input is like, I'll give it a information. Ask about AI Council trainings and certifications. All right. And thereafter, I will click on go to submitted. This is a button that we are going to create. This is st dot form submit button, right? So here it is my submit button and here it is my send, right? So let's save this guy and get back to our UI and check how is it performing. So when I check the UI over here, it came over here, right? That means I can ask something over here, like what are the trainings you provide? Okay. So if I ask it, it is expected to respond, but it is not responding as of now because we have not written anything to show the output, right? So for that purpose, we'll get back to our script over here, and then what we'll see that when the submit button is clicked, okay, that means if the submit button is clicked, all right, then what it needs to do, and one more thing that we can do, and user input is also there, right? It's not like that only submit button is clicked and someone had not given any input. So user input should also be there, and we will just strip, that means remove any extra spaces. So how can we get the output? To get the output, this function is responsible, right? Now this function will come into role. All right. So I'll just copy this thing and we'll paste it over here. All right. And this guy requires two things: PDF text we are already giving from here, user input we are already giving from here. That means this guy can just give me the answer. Whatever this will return, I will just store this thing in the answer, right? This function will automatically trigger LLaMA, and LLaMA will generate the answer and we will get the answer output. All right. Now, once we have the output generated, what we can do, we can just showcase the output over here, right? So how to showcase the output, isn't it? So for that, we can write a logic. Okay. So where should we write a logic? That we have to think. Here it is a form, right? That means response is generated. This form will generate the response by taking the user input, right? Now we have to come out of this form, right? And here we have to write our logic, isn't it? So for that, it's like st dot markdown. I'll just give over here. First, we can give response. Okay, so I'll say st dot markdown response. So it will just generate a response for me. That means it will just give you the, like, same thing like we used earlier. Here we had used in the PDF summarizer. If you compare it, so what do we do here? I can just take it from here and paste it, right? So this is a response, right? And thereafter the output, right? So st dot response, we have a response or answer, anything I can write, and here we can use st dot markdown. Okay, whatever the answer, where is our answer? We can just use over here. This is our answer. Okay, so let's see what this guy is doing, whether it is giving me the expected output or not. So I'll save this guy. We'll get back to our scripting, sorry, user interface, and we'll check what exactly happening. So I'll just refresh it, right? So as of now, there is no answer. I'll ask this guy, what training programs do you offer? So now let's see. I clicked it. It is just working on something. It may take some amount of time to generate the response. And once we have a response, we can see what response are we getting, right? But there is some error we did. Okay, what error we did? See here, it is showing what answer, right? So it will keep showing the answer. Why? Because I had used answer within the quotes, right? And answer is what? Answer is a variable, so it should not be within the quotes, isn't it? All right, so what we did here, answer we had used in the quotes, so we can't use it in the quotes, right? Because it's a variable. And second thing, this particular thing should outside be function, because once the function is called, then only answer will be generated, right? So that's why we need to use it outside the function, that if I want to showcase the answer, right? So here it is like this. And apart from that, we also need over here this answer to be defined. That means this function should be capable of returning the answer. Okay, so return answer. Okay, so we can just use over here answer is equals to me, right? So now that answer, it will show you as an output. Simple, we just did it. There are few changes that we did. Now let's get back to the code. We'll make this code looks more better, and some more functionality we will add, right? So let me just give it something that ask it, who are you? Okay, I'll ask it, who are you? So let's wait for some time, like few seconds, to generate, so output to be get generated, and thereafter we'll check like what modifications we can do. So it has generated an output. Next, we'll again ask it like what training programs. So it is expected to generate the things like, tell me that what are the training programs do it offer, isn't it? So let's say I'll ask it, and thereafter it will process the things, and I'll wait for the time being for a few seconds for the output to generate. So it has generated the output. Career focused training program at AI Council will offer following this training programs: AI, deep learning, computer vision, ML ops, generative AI. So it works really good, right? But few functionalities I want to add. Okay, for example, we want to add the chat history. That means all the chat. Like suppose I ask this question, the previous question and answer is not appearing. I want all those functionality. Like it happens in the chat GPT. Okay, it should also show me the previous questions and the answers, right? So chat history functionality also we want to add. So what we can do for that? So there are a few modifications that we have to do in this code. Okay, so what are the modifications? Let's see in the main function. Okay, here we are creating this form, right? So like when we are submitting this response, right? Here we should add something. Okay, like this is generating the answer, that's fine, but we should also add over here st dot session state. Okay, because session state can have your current session history. Okay, so in this case we will use st dot session state dot chat history. Okay, now dot append. Now what is this guy? What is this chat history? So this can be your a list, right, that we have not defined yet, right? So we can define a list which will be your chat history. Okay, this list can be a blank list, right? So this list will define, and this list should only be there if, you know, chat history not in. That means if it is already not there in session state, then only it should define. Okay, it should get defined in the current session, because for every session there will be a new chat history. Otherwise, suppose I am doing the conversation, that information someone else will also see. So every session there will be a new chat history. So if for current session we don't have any chat history, define a list called chat history. Okay, and in this chat history what we will do, we will append few information such as what is user input. Okay, so user input is over here. Okay, and thereafter we'll add over here what is assistant response in a key. So we're creating a Python dictionary, and in that Python dictionary we are storing user input and the response generated, right? And thereafter we don't need to return answer from here, because now we want to show user input and answer both for every question asked, right? Now we can come out of this thing, that is your form, right? And here we will write if this thing is existing, that means this guy actually got some information. Okay, so if session state dot chat history, so what we do, we can use for chat in t dot session state dot chat history, right? Do what? Just print over here st dot markdown. Okay, what you have to show over here, two things. One, what user asks, and what assistant had responded, right? So for that, I will create over here a bold character of u, right? This will be in the bold, right? And thereafter, the user is responding, and the response is stored in a key, and that key is what? User input. This is a key that is having the user response, isn't it? And this will be your variable, so I can use it. And next line, I need to show the response, what assistant had given. So assistant, okay, and the response is within the assistant key. So this is our assistant, right? Okay. And thereafter, we don't need this thing. We can directly call over here if we can directly trigger the main function, because main function will do everything. It will read the things, it will print the output, everything it will do, right? So main. Okay, it will read the thing, generate the output, and then showcase the output. Okay, it looks good as of now, right? We can make the situations more better. Okay, fine, let's use it and thereafter check how is it performing, and thereafter some more changes required we will do, right? So we'll get back to our interface where we can generate our output, right? So let's say I'm asking it, who are you? Okay, I'll ask it, and thereafter it is expected to take some time to generate the output. So let's wait for a few minutes, few seconds, and thereafter we'll give the second query. So we get an error over here. Why are we getting error? Let's get back to code to check why are we getting error. Because here we are trying to use the key. Which key? This particular key. Because this key is storing the user input. So key should be given in a quotes, right? This should be also in a quotes. Now it's fine. So we make the corrections. Let's get back, check if things are working or not. All right, again I ask it, who are you? Okay, send this thing, and let's wait for a few seconds for the response. Either we'll get a response or we'll get an error. So if we get an error, we'll correct it. If we get a response, we'll give the second question, right? So it has given me output that welcome to our platform. I am here to provide information, key questions or something, right? So how to learn machine learning, okay, concepts. Okay, so let's say what this guy is responding. I asked a question from it. So now it has responded, learning machine learning concept with AI Council. To learn machine learning concepts, you can follow this process, right? Additional resources, something, and then get certified. Consider obtaining certification in machine learning from AI Council, which will demonstrate your expertise and enhance your career prospect. Now, if you see, we do have the previous and the current, right? That means it is showing everything that in the as a chat history, right? So user can just see all the questions asked earlier, right? Next, whenever you are creating these kind of application, so these applications are doing what? This is considering your two things to generate the output. Okay, what are those two things? It is considering your let's see over here when you call it, it is considering the PDF data that you have already given to it. Okay, that AI Council brochure.pdf and the user input. It can be more better if you also give the chat history, right? That means whatever the chat that it has generated, okay, that can be a kind of a feedback loop, so that it can be more contextual, right? It can be more contextual. It can just have the context in which the conversation is going on, right? That's why when you create such thing, do one thing, also add your chat history over here. Okay, PDF context is there, that's good. Here also add your chat history. Okay, and where is our chat history? Chat history you can just add over here as a something called conversation. So conversation needs to be a variable. Where is this variable? There is no variable defined as a conversation, isn't it? So what we do, we can just pass the chat history over here as one more parameter. Okay, and using this chat history, we'll try to create the conversation, right? So here, format previous conversation. It will create a kind of a context, that in which context till the conversation happened. Okay, so I can define over here the conversation, isn't it, is equals to a blank value. Right now it is blank, right? Now how this conversation can have the information? This conversation can have the information if I will iterate through the chat history, right? So for chat in chat history, okay, whatever the chat we have in the chat history, we have to use it, right? So for chat in chat history, we'll do what? Conversation plus equals to, right? What I need to add over here, we need to add two things. What user had asked, okay, whatever that user had asked, and second, what response has been generated. So user asked is where? User asked we are already storing in a key user input, right? So I'll just take it from here, right? Let's say chat, this one, and this can be your formatted text. Okay, so whatever user had asked, that we are taking from the user input, and whatever the response, so that we can give over here as an assistant. What assistant had responded up to current label. Okay, whatever the conversation happened, so till the time whatever the assistant had responded, so that we can give over here through the chat. And what is the key we are using? we are using this particular key, assistant, right? Right. So this will create a context. So now we know whenever you're passing the key, it should be within the quotes. Now it looks good, right? And thereafter we are feeding up this conversation through this helpful. Okay. Okay. So we are giving this conversation to the prompt, right? Now we need to do what? We had created a function generate response llama. This generate response llama, we are calling it over here, right? So as we are calling it over here, this guy also requires the third parameter, which is called chat history. Okay, then only from the chat history it can pick the user input and assistant responses. So where is chat history? Chat history is already stored over here, right? So this thing we can take and we can feed it over here. Now it is more better as it is having the context. It will also have the context in which the current conversation is going on, right? So you can expect a better response for a larger aspects, right? Or you can also ask the question from the current context. So you need not to give every time a complete prompt. So let's save it and check if there is any behavioral change. So we'll get back over here. We'll refresh it. We'll ask it, who are you? I'll send the thing. It will take some time to respond. So we'll wait for a few seconds for the response. So here we got the response, right? Now based on it, every time the response will be different. Last time it was different, right? Now your gateway to AI-driven career, I am here to provide information, answer questions, and help with the query related to career-focused training, right? So let me ask it. I could not understand your last response. Just to check whether it is using its chat history to respond or not. Right? This query is what? This prompt is what? This prompt can only be responded if it is having the information about its last response. Right? So I could not understand your last response. Please elaborate. Okay, like something like this. Now let's see what it is doing. So you can see it is containing its chat history into the context for responding. That's why it is saying I could not understand your last response when we asked. So let me start from the beginning. I am helpful chat assistant from AI Council. Our team offers career focused training in cutting is this one, whatever it is, right? So this is how we created a chatbot which is using our private data, right, to respond about a user query, right? So this can be used for a lot of purpose to help our end users, right? It is also showing the chat history, and every time it will start a new session. For a current session, it will use the PDF text and the chat history as a context to respond for the user whenever you trigger this particular URL that is running in your local host with the help of your LLaMA model. That means this can also run locally, as well as we can also try to deploy it over the cloud, right? So next we'll try to deploy it over the cloud. Meanwhile, just try to finish it. If you find any difficulty, anything is not working, just do let me know so that we can collectively resolve it, right? So till then, stay safe, keep learning, and happy learning, right?